fighter altogether. I mean, things just happen. You know what I'm saying? Bad day, bad day. I will be.
You know it'll be.
Different situation, different way, different everything. So yeah.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, many people have sent me this interview done by two-time well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year, future Hall of Famer, Derrick James. And Derrick James was very hesitant to talk about one of his fighters, and that's former unified three-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who was once widely considered top 5 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, and that's Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. is now 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, Errol Spence suffered the first loss of his career, and it wasn't just a loss. He absolutely got dominated. And that was July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, when he faced off against now undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the undisputed welterweight world champion, who is widely recognized as the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terrence "Bud" Crawford. Terrence Crawford is now 40 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He is 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence was supposed to be a 50-50 fight if there ever were one on paper. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence was the highly anticipated fight and the biggest one in the last 10 years. The most competitive one on paper in the last 40 years since September 16, 1981, when Sugar Ray Leonard took on Thomas the Hitman Hearns. But the fight didn't play out like that. Errol Spence was dropped in the second round, dropped twice in the 7th round, and stopped in the 9th round. And in between there, he was being battered in those other rounds. In the 3rd round, he was being battered. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, he was being battered. And in the 8th round, he was being battered. And many people thought that the fight should have been stopped in the 7th round, right? So the fight itself just wasn't competitive. And Terrence Crawford proved to be better at everything than Errol Spence, shockingly, to many, including myself and many others, right? And with that said, Terrence Crawford was faster, had faster hands. He checked every box better than Errol Spence. He had faster hands, faster feet, faster reflexes. He was physically more stronger. He had more power in both hands. He had a better jab, and his counterpunch ability was better. He checked off all the boxes. And so it was an extreme shock to many that leaves many people in delusion, disbelief, or they just simply can't accept it. And so Derrick James, as you heard in this interview he did, he stated that we already knew they had a rematch clause in place, that the winner was obligated to give the loser a rematch within 30 days if the loser petitioned for the rematch. And so we don't know. It was said after the fight, immediately after the fight, the day after, Errol Spence was going to petition. Errol Spence was ready to petition, and he wants the fight to be a junior middleweight, 154 pounds. And Terrence Crawford is willing to oblige that. But fast forward, the powers that be, the networks, promoters, seems like they don't really want this rematch. Not yet, anyway. Showtime President of Sports Steven Espinosa recently stated that the rematch would be next year, late next year, early at best, if it happens at all. Now, obviously, Errol Spence, as a competitor, as a dog he is, and then a fighter he is, he wants his get back. So he wants the rematch. So Derrick James, who we saw, ironically, checking Terrence Crawford's gloves after the fight, which just let you know how much in shock Derrick James was. That Derrick James, immediately when Terrence Crawford walked over to Errol Spence to, congratulate him, to show his appreciation, to give his blessings and his love to, Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence in the corner. Derrick James immediately grabbed Terrence Crawford's gloves and started checking his gloves and the pattern in his gloves. That just lets you know what Derrick James thought about this fight, right? How he thought that this fight was a one-sided dominating performance on the part of Terrence Crawford. What he saw in this fight, because again, like I said, Derrick James immediately started checking Terrence Crawford's gloves immediately, right? Checking the pattern, and Terrence Crawford gladly obliged, right? Terrence Crawford didn't have a problem with Derrick James checking his gloves, but that just goes to show what took place in this fight and how brutal this fight was, that Derrick James felt the need to check Terrence Crawford's gloves when Terrence Crawford walked over. And don't forget, Derrick James was in the corner, and when Terrence Crawford was getting his hands wrapped and getting his hands gloved, he was there checking it out. So he just wanted to make sure, because Errol Spence, both eyes was closed, his nose was bleeding, his lip was bleeding. He took a beating in the ring. No doubt, he took a massive beating in the ring. And even Derrick James was shocked that Terrence Crawford was able to do this to Errol Spence. We never expected this to happen. And so with that said, shockingly, now Derrick James is saying that he's guaranteeing Errol Spence gets the rematch. And not only is he guaranteeing that, but he's guaranteeing Errol Spence wins this fight. And he also states that Errol Spence is the better fighter overall. He said, I have the better fighter overall. Right? Just listen to what he had to say. Let's listen to what he said again. And shouts out to the interviewer for getting this interview.
I think my guy's a better fighter. Things that happen. You know what I'm saying? Right. Bad day. I will be.
You know it'll be.
Different situation, different way, everything. So yeah.
So Derrick James says he knows Errol Spence is going to be better in the rematch, as he's supposed to say that. He also states that it's going to be a different weight. Everything will be different, completely different scenario. And he expects Errol Spence to win the fight. It's just shocking that he says that he feels like Errol Spence is better at everything, a better boxer and a better fighter overall than Terrence Crawford, because that's a hard sell to the public, that he is better overall. And again, shouts out to Inside Fighting on YouTube for getting this interview. It's a hard sell. Many people are going to be hard pressed to accept that he believes that, Errol Spence is a better fighter, a better boxer overall than Terrence Crawford, because he didn't show in any area where he was better. Okay? There was nothing that he showed he was better than Terrence Crawford at. He wasn't stronger, physically stronger, and we expected Errol Spence to be the physically stronger guy, okay, over Terrence Crawford, who started his career at 130 pounds, became a world champion 135, 140, and 147, right? So many people are hard pressed to listen and believe that Derrick James is saying, that Errol Spence is going to be the better fighter, is the better fighter. Now, again, like I said, is Derrick James, referring to the weight? You understand? Moving up in weight is going to benefit, Errol Spence, and Errol Spence will be a different fighter overall. He don't have to cut, because there was reports that Errol Spence had to cut 43 pounds. Okay, he had to cut 43 pounds from 190. Now, if that were to be the case, then that is on Errol Spence. If Errol Spence had to cut 40 pounds to make 147, 43 pounds to make 147, that means he wasn't being disciplined. And that means he was being irresponsible. And that is on him, right? That's on him, right? You got to be, as a professional athlete, knowing that you fight at 147 pounds, you have to be on point. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be close to weight. So let's look at this video though. That you know, Derrick James is checking Terrence Crawford's glove. It's just shocking to me that he feels like it. Well, it's not shocking because obviously that's his fighter. He brought him up. Derrick James was introduced to the boxing world by Errol Spence, and Errol Spence was introduced to the boxing world with Derrick James. So it's not, surprising that he is, riding with Errol Spence, and he feels like Errol Spence is the best fighter in this situation. But it's just hard pressed that for people to believe that. But look at this video of him checking Terrence Crawford's gloves, though. As you can see, right there, he's squeezing Terrence Crawford's gloves. As you can see, he went to test it again. You see, he tried to do it again, and when Terrence Crawford pulled it away, right? Terrence Crawford didn't, resist. He didn't refuse. Right there, you see Derrick James is checking the gloves. Right there, he's pushing with his thumb. Look at, you see that? He's checking the pattern on his gloves. And he goes right here. He's getting ready to try to do it again right there. You see it. Just to make sure everything was on the up and up. So that lets you know that Derrick James was in disbelief from what he witnessed. So again, Steven Espinosa, Showtime, they don't seem very interested in having an immediate rematch. Definitely not this year. So we got to see how it unfolds and plays out. But what y'all think? Do y'all think that Errol Spence is better at everything than Terrence Bud Crawford? Let me know what y'all think, man. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.